Hey, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Tasha. This is Tasha Pivots, where we talk about all things mamahood and homeschool and how I am pivoting through this journey. I just am so excited for the new year to come, but I'm also trying to just enjoy the stillness of this year as we are closing in on the last final days. And so I actually just had a profound conversation with my husband, and we were just talking about the things that have spanned over our last almost 10 years of marriage. Next year will be 10 years. And so we're going into this 10th year in our minds of like, what is it that we want? What is it that we want to change? What is it, the cycle from the last decade that we want to really remove? And it's interesting because this year has felt like a decade. And so a decade of a culmination of everything up until this point. And so today I wanted to sit with you guys. I have my journal with me, and I listed out 10 things that I have learned from this year in 2020, things that I want to leave and things that I want to bring with me. So if you'd like to hear more, let's get started. Hey you, I just wanted to say, if you are new to this channel and you hit the play button for the first time, so glad you're here. Thank you for sitting with me. Like I said in my introduction, I've got my journal here and I have been writing some things down that I want to have jotted in a safe space where I know I can go back and look at it. And so I wanted to share this with you guys, and maybe you can resonate with some of these things and, whatever it could be. So the first thing for the 5, I wanted to do 5 lessons I am leaving in 2020. So the number 1 is offense. We all naturally operate in offense, right? Like we get offended by the fact that a car didn't do their blinker and got in front of us, or we get an offense that our children are not wanting us to be the ones that they run to read with, or whatever it is, anything we can find offenses in. And I notice for myself, I can quickly get offended by what I feel or perceive someone's thoughts are about me, or when it comes to homeschooling, I can get easily offended if my child isn't performing or responding or reacting to whatever it is that I'm trying to teach them, and feel inadequate, right? And so then I automatically react in offense. And it is just important for me that for my family, for my friends, for acquaintances, and truly for myself, that I would not operate in offense anymore. And that if I do, because we're all human, and as much as we like to change things, I really want to leave the things that I once got offended about in 2020. I don't want to bring that with me. Number 2 I have written down is complaining. I talked about this in one of my videos a couple weeks ago, where I'm working on just being gratitude and writing the things that I'm grateful for every day in my morning, in my quiet time. But with that comes with me to stop complaining. I recognize that complaining runs in my family, in the women of my family, and it took some time of being around family to really recognize where that stemmed from. And I noticed for myself, I have even cultivated that as my normal thing of like, something's not happening, so I'm complaining about it. And I recognize that it becomes this funnel, and I just kind of spiral out of control with complaining. And then I recognize that now that's trying to seep into my children. And so I'm like, cutting it off right now. And so I've been really trying to actively be mindful of what is it that I'm complaining about, and why am I complaining about it? Where does it stem from? So of course this takes a lot of mental space, and some may not feel that they can do that. But for me, it is really something I don't want to bring into the new year, or into this new year, basically. I want to leave it in 2020 of just complaining about what I can't change, complaining about what I'm discontent in, and really like asking the Lord, where is this rooting from, and asking that it be revealed, whether it's in a dream, whether it's in a movie or a conversation, or in a book that I'm reading, like that God would speak to me and show me what is it that those things that I complain about, where is it rooted, so that I do not do it anymore. And so I'm already in the process of having that time, but that's number 2. So number 1, offense. Number 2, complaining. Number 3, I have resentment. Yes, these are some heavy ones I'm giving you guys, but for me, I'm not a regretful person. I think that everything's a choice, and what you choose to do is ultimately your choice. And so to say that I regret something is totally on the contrary. But when it comes to resentment, I can recognize that I have had it almost is a mirror effect of offense, like getting offended. And if that same thing keeps happening, now I've created a not only an offense, but now I've created resentment towards a person or towards a situation. And I recognize that I can be resentful to even my spouse, or I can be resentful towards my children. Like, just to be very transparent, yes, they're human beings, but then we like to, or I can only speak for myself, like to control things and like things to happen a certain way. And when we do that, we automatically start to formulate an attitude and a heart posture of resentment, and when things are not happening our way. And so I don't want to bring that with me into 2021. I don't want to be resentful for the fact that things have changed this year, that things have gotten harder, that I am not able to do this, that, or the third, or that family members or friends or acquaintances have done a certain things to me, and now I've become resentful towards them because now I'm allowing them to basically have rent-free space in my life, because now I'm just constantly staying with that. I'm triggered by those things. Number 4 is agenda. I am a planner. I think it's great to plan, but I also have learned and learning in this year that I don't want to hold on to my agenda. I want to be able to, yes, write dates down, write some goals down, but I also want to leave space for God to do ultimately what his plan is for my life and for my family's life, and not be so bound by, well, this is what I have in plan, because then I remove the space for God to enter and be able to live out my purpose for my life, and I start to try to be the one in the driver's seat. So that is something I definitely don't want to bring into 2021. And then lastly, I have self-pity. It was kind of hard and it stung a bit to put that one down, but I feel like I can get in those spaces of having self-pity for myself because I don't look the way I really want to look, or I don't feel the way I want to feel, or I want to get to a certain level in this adventure, in what I'm doing and expressing and sharing, and just, putting extra weight on my shoulders, if you will. Like, I don't want to pity myself. I want to look at where is the problem and allow myself the space to feel wherever I feel in that problem, and then work on it, fix it, come up with ways to attack that so that we cannot stay there. So those were my 5 that I am not taking with me into 2021. And now to the 5 things I'm taking with me. Number 1 is joy. I want to take joy with me into 2021. This year, even though you would think that's not the word that you automatically think of, I recognize that I used to place joy in the things that I would receive, or the whatever I'm receiving, what I'm taking from something. And I recognize that joy doesn't come from any of those things. It's already within. It's already been given freely. And so I now find joy in the most smallest things. I find joy when I hear my kids laugh, or they're being snarky, or just they're being themselves. I'm finding joy in the moments when I get to just snuggle with my husband, or me and him have a really great conversation, and recognizing like that's so, like, those moments are so valuable for me. And so I have that one. Number 2, peace. Yes, having peace throughout this year, especially in the first half of the year, I really learned to have peace. And it's come back towards the end part, like the last month of this year, of recognizing that, like, no matter the noise, like, that's all I can think of is like white noise on a television that doesn't work anymore, like those old televisions where it would just be like shh all the time. I now don't have that. Like, I have a peace that surpasses all understanding, and that's truly God. But I also have learned to have peace with wherever I'm at, which comes with also contentment. And really just wanting to dwell there and let that move right into 2021. That if nothing changes, literally nothing changes, I have peace. So I am so excited to have that be something that I really want to take with me, and that I will constantly be fighting for and surrendering to, is that peace. Number 3, compassion. I have not always been the most compassionate person. I think I care from a deep rooted place. I'm very loyal, but having compassion for others, especially even like people within my own home or close acquaintances or close friends and family, I don't feel like it is my first response. It's not my heart posture naturally. My husband, though, is the compassionate king. He is so compassionate, especially with my children, especially with me. But I have slowly starting to learn to have compassion for my children, have compassion for my husband, have compassion for myself, and recognizing like it's okay to feel the way you feel and not overanalyze and over reflect on what I did or said or am or how they are feeling, but just seeing it for what it is, understanding where they are, being loving towards them and to myself. So I'm taking compassion with me. That was number 3. And then I have number 4 is trust, which that is my 2020-2021 word for our homeschooling family. I'm going to link that up there, up there, so you can see that one. I talked about that, and I think I have to go back to it because I struggle still with trusting. And so I really want to take trusting the Lord. I really want to take trusting in my union with my husband, and then trusting myself. Truly trusting that I am capable, that everything and all things that I already have is all I need because God gave it to me. And so not questioning my decision making, not questioning my attitude or my posture in those things. Like, yes, if there needs to be a conviction or correction, beautiful, but like really appreciating the space and time in which I can recognize that I am human, that I can surrender, and I don't need to control everything. So just trust, taking it. And I feel like I've been going through this process in the last month. And so I'm like, come on, let's bag that on with me into this rest of this journey. And number 5 I have is time. I recognize that maybe for some might be number 1 from 2020, because I think the greatest gift that God gave us in this year is time. And whether you spent it being frustrated and angry and over ostracized by everything happening in the world, or if you spent it just enjoying the slow pace of life with your family, I, for myself, had to really sit with this and say, you know what, I'm so grateful for the time in which that my husband has been able to have with us, and being present and being able to just look at him eye to eye, face to face, and not it be a fleeting moment like it has been in the past. And recognizing, like God's word says, that time is like a vapor. So I recognize that I'm so grateful for the time that I've had with my family, the time that I've had with my spouse, the time that I've had with friends, and building new relationships with people that I never would have had if this year hadn't happened. So I am taking time with me and recognizing that I can be intentional with the time that I do have, and that I can also be intentional with my choices and how I choose my time. Those are all very, very important to me. And I have one last one that I think is kind of cultivates all of it. It's something that I need to leave and take with me, and it's like a bonus one if you've made it this far in the video, is boundaries. I maybe will do a whole separate video if you want to see it and you've made it this far and you want me to do that, leave it in the comments below. But boundaries, I have never really understood boundaries until this latter part of the year. And it came through a painful situation, but I recognize that I have to learn my boundaries, and no longer will I allow my boundaries to be crossed like I have in the past. And especially in this past year, it all came to a screeching halt, and I've stood my ground in that sense, in showing that there is a boundary, there's a line to cross when it comes to me and my family, but ultimately myself. And recognizing that I need to have healthy boundaries. And so I'm taking that with me in 2021 of it doesn't have to be an anger or a fight, but it does have to mean that I stand grounded and rooted in the boundaries that I do have for myself. So again, if you want to hear more on how I'm going about that and how I'm going to do that, please put it in the comments below. I'd love to film a video on it. But yes, those are my top 10 plus that bonus one. I'm so excited to take the things that I need to take and learn from the things that I don't need to take with me. If you care to share, please put it in the comments. I'm also going to do an entire post on my website under my blog about a little bit more in depth of these top 10, and you can check that out. The link is in the description below. I thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Give this video a warm thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button if you've been around for some time and you just haven't decided if you wanted to subscribe, or if you've been thinking about it, or you already just bounced on this channel today and you wanted to hit it. Please do. I'd love to have you a part of the family. Until next time, you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.